Forgive me, Father, for I've sinned. It has been 2 months since my last 300 Blackout video. Time to change that. Alright, is that sacrilegious? The religious people probably left after they realized I cuss so much, right? Alright. It has been 2 months since my last 300 Blackout video, and that is about to change. I am pumped up. I am psyched about 300 Blackout, and this is going to be a, something of a rejuvenation video here. We are about to hit it hard and heavy because I just got my SBR approved. So we're going to be putting a stock on this guy, and we're going to be able to shoot. The lower is currently at the engraver, getting that done, and we'll be ready to rock here really soon. I'm just going to talk a little bit here. This no loading, no shooting in this video, so it's just going to be me yapping. You have been warned. Kind of want to talk about what's coming, what I got planned, what I'm hoping to accomplish in the next month or two, because on the heels of my SBR paperwork is my suppressor paperwork. So a month, 6 weeks, I don't know. You never know on these things. But pretty soon, I'm going to have my suppressor. I was able to actually see it today whenever I dropped off my lower for engraving. Got to hold it in my hands. It does exist. It is a real piece of metal that, hopefully someday will be in my hands. I was reviewing some of the previous videos. What are we up to? Like, this is the 8th or something like that video. Stand by. Yeah. Where are we at? Playlists. 300 Blackout. This is the 9th video. Man. Well, I was reviewing some of the videos, so I made sure I remembered where we were at. Man, that last video was boring. I didn't want to do it. I had no motivation. I had no excitement. And you could just tell, man. So I just like to apologize for that last video. It was quite terrible. Here's what we're going to do. We need to get ready for this suppressor, right? And to be ready for the suppressor, we need some subsonic loads worked up. Because, you always want to work them up first without the suppressor, so we make sure they're not coming out of there sideways and going to be causing baffle strikes in my suppressor. So these are all of the 300 Blackout powders I've got. 7 different powders that are rumored to work for subsonic loads in 300 Blackout. That's what I want to do here in the next little bit, is I want to go through every flipping one of these powders and find out a good subsonic load for them, and work up a good subsonic load for them. The generally agreed upon number, it seems, is 1050, like 1,050 feet per second. Seems to be what people shoot for. I know, the actual speed of sound and all that crap depends on a ridiculous number of factors, so I think that's just kind of the safe number. I think it's usually up a little 1100, 1150-ish, something like that. So 1050 gives you a little bit of room, because you put on the suppressor, that's going to increase velocity, and then all of the environmental and mystical reasons that shift that number as well. So that's what we're going to shoot for. So we're going to take each powder, we're going to figure out what charge gets us 1050, and then we're kind of stuck there, right? We could mess around with charge weight a little bit, but we want max velocity. We want to be right up to the edge. We want to be shooting as much velocity as we can, without going supersonic. And if the powder happens to shoot crappy in my gun at 1050, there's not a lot you can do, right? So that's what I'm hoping, is if we work up all 7 of these powders to 1050, maybe we'll lose 1 or 2 because it isn't functioning very well or something like that, and then we can kind of do a shootout and see which one of them shoots the best in my gun at 1,050 feet per second. So that's probably what's going to be on the slate here pretty soon. And I mean, honestly, so I'm going to need to do that for every freaking bullet I want to shoot too, right? The first bullet we're going to play around with are these, Palmetto or Eggleston? I always get them mixed up. Yeah, these are Palmetto projectiles. They're polymer coated jobs. They're just over 200 grains. I always forget how much they weigh. They're a little over 200. Let's just frickin' weigh one, man. That is 204.82 grains. So, I don't know, we'll say 205 grains. Now these are some of my cast bullets. Picked up lead at the range, melted it down, cast some bullets, and powder coated them myself. Oh, look at that, fine craftsmanship. These are a smidgen heavier, as in 30 grains heavier. So this is 237.76. Let's try another one. 241. So these are in that 240 grain range. So that's another thing I want to play around with. I've got, quite a few of them. I don't remember what the count is, but I got a couple hundred of them here ready to rock and play with, and I can cast up as many more as we need. But I think what I'm going to do is we'll work with these first, because a lot of people out there having luck with them. So I'm reasonably sure they're not going to lead the snot out of my barrel or stuff like that. So they should basically be ready to load, where mine are going to need sizing and all of that jazz and sorting, and so I'm going to have some more quality control sort of checks to do on my own bullets. So we'll start with these guys. We'll work up a 1050 load with all 7 of these powders, and then we'll just see what happens. We'll probably go like, I don't know, 2 powders at a time. So I'll do like several videos where we go through each and find that number, and then maybe wrap it up into accuracy testing all 7 of them at the same time, same conditions, all that sort of crap. A couple other upgrades I got for the gun. If you remember way back then, the trigger, I was not happy with the original trigger that came with the cheap lower parts kit I had bought. I had bought a lighter spring set, and then it was having problems. I got a new trigger. I got a CMC, flat trigger, 3.5 pound single stage. I put one of these in my new 6.5 Grendel, and I love it. Oh man, I love these CMC triggers. I don't have a lot of experience with with AR triggers, with nice AR triggers, so I don't know how these stack up to Geisley and some of the others, but I know that, man, they feel really awesome to me. So that was enough for me to pull out the wallet and grab another one of those for my 300 Blackout. Brass. We've been shooting that same grungy 50 pieces of brass, and we're up to a lot of loadings on it, right? We're up to 7, 8 firings, and it's still going strong. There's been no problems with neck splitting, cases splitting, head separating, none of that crap. The problem has been just getting beat up from working through an AR over and over and over. So I think I've proved to myself I might continue to shoot that batch of brass, just run it until it dies and get an idea of what's going on. But I wanted to go ahead and get some more brass together. This is about 750 pieces, and as you might be able to tell, these have had the shoulder and neck chopped off, and they are ready for forming. They're nice and shiny, cleaned up, ready to go. And what I did, I got a lot of 5.56 brass just from collecting it, and I went through and I picked out all of my Lake City. So all of this is Lake City. It's no specific date. I mean, there's old stuff, there's new stuff, there's recent stuff, and but this is all what this is. So this is Lake City, and that's what we're going to use. A lot of these still need the military crimps removed and all that sort of crap. I was thinking about doing a video, but then as I was rewatching my videos to make this video and start moving forward, that first video where we formed brass, pretty happy with that process. So I don't think I need to show it all again, because I'm just going to do the same thing. So far, like I said, I've just sorted, decapped, and chopped these guys off with my saw. I did get some better blades than I used in the first video, which made it a little bit easier. But these guys are ready for forming, and I'm still kind of debating what to do. My original plan was to go through, form all of these guys, trim all of these guys, and then basically have them ready for loading. But I always seem to regret that. Like I did that with 223 once, where 556. I went through and prepped a ton of brass, even primed it. I mean, it was basically ready to. It was in a tub like this. Just pull it out, bullet powder, go to the range. And I don't know, as I continued to reload and tweaked my process and all of that sort of stuff, I always regretted, like, man, I wish I didn't have this brass already ready. You know, I'd like to, I don't know, whatever. Like, oh, you know, I found out that uniforming primer pockets or something like that was needed. And it's like, I wish I could do that to these, but they're already ready for primer, powder, bullet. Or for powder and bullet. So, I don't know if that made any sense at all. But I think I'm just going to leave them like this. Ready for forming and trimming. And I'm going to pull out 100 and just have 100 pieces ready for the testing we're about to do, and we'll run that 100 into the ground, and then we'll go back to the well and grab more whenever we need it. But you know, honestly, the chopping and initial cleaning is really the dirtiest and grungiest and nastiest part. So glad to have that part over with. Now, what I did do, I don't know if I've got it over here. Well, somewhere here, I need to upgrade some of my organization around this place because it's a bit of a mess. Somewhere around here, I've got a case length gauge and shell holder for 300 Blackout, and that's what I'm going to be using. Video 1, I had used the the RCBS Trim Pro to do the trimming. No more of that crap. So I'm going to use the Lee, and I might cover that. Yeah, I'll show that at some point in the video. See how well it, some point, maybe the next video, where to see how well it chops off large amounts of brass. I think it's going to do okay, but that should sure beat the hell out of, yeah, there it is, 300 Blackout. So there's my case length gauge and, cutter for 300 Blackout. So that's how I'm going to be trimming the brass. The other thing is a little bit ridiculous. I was just looking. So the 3 to 9 loophole scope I've been using on this for our testing so far, I'm loaning that out to my nephew. So we are going to be using this. This is my Vortex Viper HST. 4 to 16 by, what are we, 44? Yes. I realize how freaking absurd this is. The scope is significantly longer than my barrel. Yeah, this is going to be a little goofy looking on an SBR, but whatever, it's going to be good for load development. I'm still trying to decide what to do on this gun permanently, like long term. Whether I want a 1 to 4 scope or whether I want a red dot. I think I'm probably going to end up getting a red dot for this dude. Do, iron sights and a red dot and use that. But that'll come down the line, because right now we still need to do some precision work with this guy and work up some loads, right? That's what it's going to be all about right now, and we're going to use a huge and grossly inappropriate scope. I've also got these guys. So these 208 grain AMAXs that I had bought, planning to use them for subsonic testing. We'll get to these later. The weight is going to be pretty close to our Palmetto projectiles. So I'd like to, work on these first because they're cheap, and then whenever we go to these, which are not cheap, we'll already be in the ballpark and we won't be wasting a bunch of bullets hunting in the dark for a charge weight. I've also got some other, I bought several molds. So, like, here's some other ones. Man, I got bullets for days. We're going to be shooting cast lead that's powder coated out of this guy eventually, but we'll see how it shoots. You know, like you hear some wildly varying reports of what sort of accuracy to expect from subsonic blackout. So we're going to find out for sure right here on the channel. We are going to hunt for the best, and we're going to get down to it here really soon. So like I said, I'll have the lower back tomorrow ready to rock. I'll probably actually start the first loading video right after I wrap this guy up. So as you're watching this, I'm probably already loading. That is, if you watch it soon after it's uploaded. And I think that's probably about it. I just kind of wanted, I'm in a blackout mood, man. I'm freaking jacked about getting back into 300 blackout and continuing the work that was so rudely interrupted a few months ago because that pistol was a pain in the ass. So that should hopefully be the last time I have to bitch about that. Alright guys, see you next time.